Hudson County View, live and uncut. And I'm your host, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, John Heinis, and of course, latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So, first of all, you guys probably have seen and read quite a bit right now, but on Thursday evening, Jersey City Ward E Councilman James Solomon, who will be my guest on this program next week, officially declared for mayor at the Jersey City Theater Center. His candidacy was widely expected, but remember, you got guys like former Governor Jim McGreevey and Hudson County Commissioner Bill O'Day that came out all the way back in November. So, you know, there was a little bit of a guessing game about what was going on here, but he made this pretty clear at the beginning of the month in an email blast. And, you know, now it's official. So we're going to talk about that field of five. Also going to talk a bit more about what's been going on with CarePoint Health. Not too many updates for you on that, but obviously that process with their financial restructuring that may include bankruptcy is still moving forward. And we're going to tell you a little bit about new developments there. Also going to chat a little bit about the Pompidou project. That's Center Pompidou, something we've been talking about for at least 4 years. And now, of course, there's a new iteration of the project that Mayor Stephen Fulop, a Democratic candidate for governor, is quite bullish on. And we heard a lot of opposition to the project at a 4.5-hour meeting by the Journal Square Community Association on Saturday. And then on Monday, we had the Jersey City caucus and, of course, that final vote for a 30-year tax abatement at 808 Pavonia Ave for the KRE group is tonight. So all that, and also we're going to be joined by Hoboken First Ward Councilman Paul Presinzano. So that and a whole lot more right after this word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John Heinis. So let's dive into the Jersey City mayoral race. Obviously, we're still more than 13 months away, but we've been talking about this again all the way since this past November, and it's going to keep going until the subsequent November. So having said that, let's talk about Councilman Solomon. So right off the bat, he took some shots at Jim McGreevey and the Hudson County Democratic Organization, and an excerpt from his speech said, "I want you to start asking yourself what I think are the crucial questions of this campaign. First and foremost, who can you trust? Who can you trust to put you first and foremost? Who has kept that trust and never let you down?" And this is in front of a crowd of about 250. Again, this is the Jersey City Theater Center, and that was on Thursday. Who has ideas for 2040 and not 2004? And who is running to serve you, not running to use your future to rewrite their past? And he went on to talk about a number of topics. He talked about how he's opposed developers. He talks about how he stood up to Paul Fireman, who, of course, at a time was trying to redevelop Caven Point at Liberty State Park. You know, we talked about, you know, basic governance, getting stop signs installed, you know, just quality of life, 911 system in Jersey City not operating. And, you know, we got endorsements from some activists that included Danielle Walker, Katie Brennan, and Wendy Tom, among several others. So it was, by any metric, I think a pretty successful kickoff. And if you've been following ever since then, been less than a week, he's been going after McGreevey pretty hard. I mean, if you saw his release this morning, which I noted in a tweet, you saw that his campaign manager went after McGreevey very hard about a fundraiser being co-hosted by Ocean County GOP Chair George Gilmore. Of course, we talked about that on this program a couple times now. And he was not the first one to do so this week. So actually on that point, let's just briefly chat about that. So we actually heard from Jeff Dublin, who is the co-campaign manager of Hudson County Commissioner Bill O'Day run for mayor. And he slammed McGreevey over this event as well. And, you know, I think the statement speaks for itself. The fact that McGreevey has the gall to put this convicted, crooked politician's name on a formal printed invitation shows that he has no shame. It speaks volumes about his arrogance and lack of integrity. We can't let the most corrupt governor in NJ history become the most corrupt mayor. That is not going to happen. So a little brief history on Gilmore, if you're unfamiliar. He got accused of being involved with this $1 million tax evasion scheme, and he was convicted at trial. And then on the last day former President Donald Trump was in office in January 2021, he pardoned Gilmore and since has become the Ocean County GOP chair one more time. This fundraiser is $1,000 a plate, and it's co-hosted by Ocean County Commissioner Frank Sadeghi. Now, with that said, you see Solomon is really seizing on this moment. We just did an email blast moments before we went on the air, and the header of that email was "Make Jersey City Great Again?" ? And again, just talks about Gilmore's history and how McGreevey has a real lack of morals and ethics. So an interesting start to the campaign for Solomon, and I think it's only going to get more interesting as the days go by. Certainly a lot of people are looking at this as a three-legged race between McGreevey, O'Day, and of course Solomon. But a lot of people think that Solomon is going to hit this runoff pretty definitively one way or the other. Of course, again, still over 13 months away, so we're not even at the pregame coin toss yet. We're still at the pregame show, basically, just talking about stats and how the matchups look on paper. But certainly this is a race that we're going to want to follow pretty closely. And if it weren't for the governor's race, I think I'd be so bold to say this is the race to watch in New Jersey next year. With that, let's talk a little bit about Pompidou. So, as I mentioned, and remember last week we were right here in the Hudson Media Group studio with Journal Square Community Association President Tom Zupa, and he really had his hands full on Saturday. We had a 4.5-hour meeting at Hudson County Community College, and we were talking strictly about the Center Pompidou, and Mayor Fulop was front and center for all of this. And, let me read an excerpt of something he said early on. He said, most of the time people tell you just don't rock the boat, don't make change, keep things status quo. You will get reelected because every time you engage in something, you get these sorts of conversations that open the opportunity for naysayers. And he also repeated a few times, for those of you that attended or watched online, you saw that he said, I have no upside to doing this. All I have is downside, and I'm still here to talk to you about it. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. But he went out and he said, the reason that I'm okay with doing that is because I know in 2, 3, 5 years, this project will be so successful, no one's ever going to talk about this meeting again. So he's feeling pretty confident and pretty bold in that sense. But when you get back to the actual heart of the meeting, you probably had close to 60 speakers and you probably had over 150 people there. And I would say out of the 60, if a handful of them were for the project, that would have been a lot. And I think Ward F. Councilman Frank Educational Gilmore summed it up well at one point when we were 2+ hours in. He said people are, quote unquote, pissed off about the lack of transparency around the project, noting that financial assessments have not been available to date. And there was one gentleman that I highlighted in a video on Twitter and Instagram. His name is John Ross. And he noted to the mayor, again, paraphrasing, that you're the one that has the relationship with the KRE group. You're the one that decides where the goalposts are. Why are we rushing this thing through? And, Fulop noted that there are some construction deadlines that need to be met. And with demolition and cleanup and site prep, it just needs to be done right now, essentially. So there's more on that. But when we're going to talk about our caucus, we got an interesting statement from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. But before we get to that, I'm going to be sitting down with Hoboken 1st Ward Councilman Paul Presinzano. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View live and uncut. I'm still John R. Heinis, and today, as I mentioned, I'm sitting down with Hoboken First Ward Councilman Paul Presinzano. Paul, always nice to have you.
How you doing, John?
Very good,
Thank
thanks.
you for having me.
Anytime. So, of course, the thing that we've been talking about the most for probably the better part of a year now is this test and vest ordinance and now local legislation that the police have begun enforcing. People have begun handing out vests. But, I think a lot of people are not up to speed, I guess, no pun intended. So can you tell us what's going on there?
So what's happened is we passed the law earlier in the year, in March, and it went into effect June 1. And basically, riders have to go into City Hall, take a test. They pass with an 80% score. Test is very easy. I wouldn't say easy, but the questions are challenging enough to know simple rules. They pay $5 and they get a numbered vest. They then are to wear the vest every time they deliver. We've had some success. We've had over 425 registrations, which I think surprised everybody, but I think that was in part helped by the enforcement from the Hoboken Police Department. From a safety issue, they were stopping everybody on a bike, essentially, and making things safe on Washington Street, red lights included. So right now, we are struggling a little bit with people getting the vests on because the city was under-ordered. I don't think they expected to see the success of the program. So now we have the vests, and coming up in a week or so, the mayor, myself, and probably some of my other colleagues will be out on 3rd and Washington. Actually, drivers will be funneled into a little area to pick up their vest, number 1, or 2, to register. So the mayor is taking a little bit more of a proactive approach, realizing that is an issue in Hoboken and it needs to be addressed.
All right, so back when this was probably between introduction and second reading, and you guys did a lot of fine-tuning and, tried to make as many people happy as you can. And at that point, there was a lot of rhetoric that this is going to affect immigrants and this is going to impact, basically our sanctuary city. So I don't think anyone used that phrase, but that was implied, right? So have you heard any of that kind of rhetoric in recent memory?
I think that rhetoric exists anywhere in society today. We struggle to be able to talk about any issue. It's either you're left or you're right. And I think we need to come to the middle to be able to talk about things. This has nothing to do with an immigrant or a citizen. It has to do with safety. Safety doesn't have a color. It doesn't have a country. It doesn't have a gender. It's fact of anybody walking down the street should be safe on their sidewalk. It's a quality of life issue. So as far as I'm concerned, when you sign up on these apps, you have to show government ID. And you also are getting paid electronically, so that opens up some other things too. So the argument of immigration does not go in the same sentence as safety. Everybody has the right to be safe.
And on the government side, I know in the summer you were pretty happy when Hoboken PD started to up their enforcement. And I think that was July when you first mentioned it, and they put a tweet out as well. So, what do you think led to this point where you guys are finally able to collaborate? Because, again, when you guys were in the voting process, Police Chief Aguiar was pretty clear, I don't think we can enforce this. Obviously, you guys found a way. So how did that come about?
I'd like to say I knew why or how this came about. I do know there was a lot of people behind the scenes kind of talking to people. I don't think it's a bipartisan issue because we are separated on the council, even though we're nonpartisan. We have heard from the community, and I think the mayor also heard from the community, right? It starts at the top down. And wasn't just my issue, it wasn't the hill that I was, the only thing I got elected for. But at the end of the day, I think some people from the other side were speaking up that this is a major issue, that people are scared to walk on Washington Street. It's our gem of the town. And ultimately, I think the call was heard and the police stepped up and did their part.
Okay. Well, to that point, you're coming towards the end of your first year in office. So obviously a lot of people associate you with this ordinance, but what's something else that you've gotten through that you're pretty happy about, proud of, that maybe didn't get as much coverage or discussion?
I have to think, I've worked with several people on different things, and I think that that's something that I'm proud of, is that I don't have my heels stuck in the ground, that I can talk to people and figure out new things. This year, there's been a lot of hot issues on the agendas. Some required a lot more work, some don't. I believe that the rent control referendum is an issue that I think we've all worked together and we spent a lot of time on. I believe the Marine View Plaza, which while it's not as prevalent, I think we've got to a solution there where, the city has come up with that they're under rent control. I'm proud of that. And I think, again, in their first year, you're always trying to feel around a little bit, and I think I'm doing that to show that it isn't constantly I'm throwing fireballs at the administration, which I have been a critic of, that I'm really they're business partners. I don't agree with a lot of the things they do, but they're business partners. And in order to get business done, I need to work with everybody. And I think that's one of the things I said during my campaign was work together. And that's what I think I'm most proud of, is that I'm trying to do that.
All right, very good, Councilman. Don't go anywhere, folks. Don't go anywhere either. We're going to just take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John Heinis still here with Hoboken First Ward Councilman Paul Presinzano. So, Councilman, you mentioned the rent control ordinance. Obviously, this is a pretty big deal in the Mile Square City, but the past month or so hasn't been a ton of conversation about it outside of, a couple social media comments here and there. So where do you stand, and what are you going to do to help get the vote out either way?
I think ultimately some people have asked for statements. I had some family stuff that I had to take care of, so I took some time away. It has not been brought up as much. I know there is canvassing happening around town. As a councilman, I represent everybody. I represent a landlord or a homeowner or a renter. And so it's a difficult position to be put in, is that there's small mom and pop landlords that are struggling here, and that it could help them. As in my election, it was made very clearly that I was a landlord. But I go by, I filled out all the paperwork, did the rules, and there's certain things that exist. Now, I had stated earlier that when some of the language was changed, people did some work, and then government comes in and puts their hand in it. I'm not always happy on that. In this situation, I think when you vote one way, you vote the other way. And whatever you feel is the best for you, I think you have to do. I have to side with the fact that in this referendum, the vitriol in the beginning was thrown back and forth, and I didn't like to see that. I don't want to see our town divided. The last referendum we saw, we had that happen. And there's still people drawing some battle lines here, and I'm not happy about that because it divides our city when all we're trying to do is trying to get to a better place. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the ballot initiative is there. You vote yes for it. There is some change to how vacancy decontrol does work. It'll become market rate for a $2,500 payment to the Affordable Housing Fund. And if you vote no, it's just we go back to the same old rent control, which is no big difference there. So at the end of the day, I feel that it's anytime that the public signs a petition and tries to make democracy work for you, I think you have to respect that. However, as a councilman and as somebody that's trying to be in the middle of the road with everybody, it has to be what you feel comfortable voting for.
So you're not going to advocate one way or the other. So you voted yes or no?
Am I voting yes or no? Right now I'm undecided because I'm taking in feedback from everybody. I mean, I just said to somebody on the phone yesterday, I said in the morning, somebody could be fighting or pushing their side of things. By the afternoon, I have somebody telling me the difference. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, what I'm doing in the booth on this, I am still taking everything in. It's not a clean-cut answer,
okay.
Right? I mean, I think rent control in general is not an easy topic. I still struggle because we don't have any data on actually how many units and stuff of that nature. So I'm still asking questions.
All right, fair enough. So let's talk a little bit about some redevelopment in the first ward, of course, downtown. So we have this LCOR project. It's gone by a few different iterations, but I think everybody knows what I mean when I say LCOR. One of the largest projects in Hoboken history. Probably looking at, I don't know, what's that price tag? Probably $250 million now. So where are we at, and when will this be completed, and why is this a good or a bad thing for the first ward?
Well, ultimately, this is a legacy of Councilman DeFusco, who's really tried hard to activate the area. And there are since 9/11, I think that area has kind of slowed down because traffic has disappeared to some degree with work, and then COVID, working from home. The trolley building was taken down, so that's now demolished. We're right near Joe Boca, near the path entrances. So that was the first phase. They're still working on getting the commercial part of that building going up and getting tenants. I think financing has been a difficult thing. I'm not speaking for them. I'm just knowing what's happening out there. Residential is easier to get funding. And then at that point, there are some benefits for the community. We get Hudson Place redeveloped, so it doesn't look as industrial, it looks more inviting. Warrington Plaza will be opened up. We'll start activating with some businesses and some halls that we can use. And then the residential project, what happens at the end of Washington Street, right near the Relationship Building site on Observer, that's a little bit bigger project, and that's all residential, but I don't know how many people really understand that. But all in the outskirt of Hoboken with the LCOR project, be it the CVS project potentially, be it the DPW garage, be it Newman Leather, all in the southern, essentially, part of my ward will be under construction for the next 5 to 10 years, I'm guessing.
Okay, so real quick here. So got about a minute and a half. Now, there's two things. So 2025, any political plans, electoral plans? I know I asked you last time, but I'd ask you again.
Should I just should I just answer it like this? I don't know. I have to talk to my wife. I think you know where, John, you know where I stand on things. Unless something changes drastically, I'm on the sidelines for this one.
All right, expected, or at least from me, expected. And then finally, real quick, the last council meeting, there seemed to be some contention about where your head was at on the Marsha Johnson statue. Mm-hmm. Now, my understanding was that you just wanted a hearing on the location, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. What were you thinking at that point?
Yes, it was. It was the fact of some constituents reached out, and they had asked, do we have any input on that? It did come out of the blue. Sometimes things come on agenda that you don't know, and that was reflected to the administration. I'm kind of dumbfounded because I can't get things taken off the agenda, I think, as Council President said. And anybody that knows me, that the administration listens to Councilman Presinzano, you know that that's a stretch of the imagination too. However, I do believe that when you're doing any type of a project, all stakeholders should be included in the conversation. And I'm not sure that the Catholic Church on the corner was included in that conversation. And so therefore, that was it. Nobody here is second guessing, celebrating Marcia's life. I think it's a fact of just respecting everybody of where the statue will be.
Right. And of course, it went through on a unanimous vote.
Yes.
Paul, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View live on Uncut. John Heinis. So ahead of this big vote on the Pompidou tonight, let's just talk a little bit about what happened at the caucus. So a lot of points were repeated that we already heard about at the Jodel Square Community Association meeting on Saturday. But of course, not everybody went and not everybody watches those things on Facebook. So, for clarity, a lot of things were repeated to the council. And one of them was Business Administrator John Metro said that an updated budget would come out, which I have posted, and the mayor did make good on releasing. That's a 10-year budget for the entire project. And he noted there that they're trying to do a special improvement district that would provide about an annual allocation of $1.5 million from the city directly towards the Pompidou project. Now, Metro made a comment that the state credit line item is about $70 million. It's actually 67.5 if you want to be exact. But not to be confused with the $48 million state budget allocation from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. And that was prior to them pulling their support in June, which of course has been well covered across the state. And he concluded there that these are state tax credits that were approved for projects of this size and were solidified. So, with that said, I actually heard from the NJEDA, and a spokesperson told me something that seemed to be at odds with what Metro was saying. The Center Pompidou project has not been approved for any tax incentives from the NJEDA. The museum could be eligible for incentives under our Cultural Arts and Facilities program, but applications for the program have not yet opened. As with all our tax incentive programs, applications would have to be approved by our board. So that's pretty interesting, needless to say. And then the rest of the meeting was relatively calm. You saw KRE Group Attorney Jim McCann come to the podium. There was a lot of questions from Ward F Councilman Frank Educational Gilmore. Of course, him and Ward E Councilman James Solomon voted no on first reading. Pretty much a given that they're going to do so again. Question is, who will join them? Of course, Ward C Councilman Rich Baggiano didn't sound too happy about it at first reading, and he actually yelled out during caucus that this is political suicide. So that doesn't sound like a guy that's voting yes to me. But, we're going to see what we're going to see. And we actually heard from KRE Group President Jonathan Kushner, and basically what he was trying to convey is that there's 2 towers in this project, right? And they're building one no matter what. And there's actually, if you do the Pompidou project, the 2 buildings would be connected via a subcellar, which is why construction is really important, or I'm sorry, a construction map and timeline is really important. And basically, the point is that they can't start demolition, and they really can't do anything until they know where they're going to stand on this abatement. I think we're all expecting it to pass, but I would expect a pretty long and brutal meeting. So, having said that, I'm going to switch gears here. We're going to talk a little bit about 2025, but not in any of the mayoral races or the gubernatorial. We're actually going to talk a little bit Hudson County Sheriff. So, Hudson County Building Trades Council backed Sheriff Frank Scileri for his 6th term. This is something that we've known he was running for all the way since May. That's 13 months out. Everyone's announcing early these days, as we've talked about at length. And basically, the trade said he's been a friend of labor. And Pat Kelleher, of course, the president of the group, said Frank Scileri has proven time and again he is a dedicated leader with a clear vision for the safety and security of Hudson County. Sheriff Scialeri's dedication to ensuring the Hudson County communities are protected and his clear record of supporting union labor are just a few of the reasons we stand with him. We're proud to endorse him for a resounding 6th term. So at the moment, Scileri is running unopposed, but don't count on that being the final thought, so to speak, because he's running on Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop's ticket, of course his gubernatorial ticket, and Fulop has pledged $10 million to all candidates down the ballot, whether that's assembly or county commissioner, or in this case, sheriff. And also joining him is Guttenberg Mayor Wayne Zitt, and they all stood together at an event about 2 weeks ago. Now, with that said, there's another side, right? And as you guys know, the HCDO, Hudson County Democratic Organization, is fractured right now. And State Senator and Union City Mayor Brian Stack and Hudson County Executive Craig Guy, who's also the HCDO chair, they've already backed Congressman Josh Gottheimer, who represents the 5th District for governor, even though he hasn't declared yet. So therefore, they're not supporting any of those candidates I just mentioned. And it's very possible that Guy and Stack and their contingency will be supporting an opponent against Scileri. You know, we've heard a lot that could be Bayonne Mayor Jimmy Davis, a retired police captain. He hasn't said anything publicly, though I'm hearing in the past, let's call it 12 to 18 hours, that he's not going to be the guy who ends up running for this anti-Fulop slate, if you will. So who that will be remains to be seen, if anyone, but we're going to keep our eyes on it, and we're going to let you know, as we always do. With that, folks, I'm going to call it a week. We'll see you next time. Have a great one.